Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today is the first day that we are opening the Stitchmas advent calendar door. So it's the second today, but as I explained in our introduction video, I'm going to be doing it every other day. So we're starting on the second, going every other day through to the 24th. Okay, so here is day one right here. So let's see what we have got. Oh, it's going that way. I wasn't expecting that. Okay. I might need a little helping hand to lift that up. There we go. Oh, okay. Oh, it's got a little picture as well. That's handy. Let's get rid of that. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be probably won't be keeping the box anyway. So it looks like it's a bauble. And it's got stitching on the bauble there. Can you see that? Well, since it came off, I can bring it to you. There you go. So my understanding is, and if we look at this here, as I said yesterday, you can do the stitching parts independently. So you could just use the bauble yourself, or you can add in the stitching elements or not, as you so desire. Okay, so let's have a think about what we're going to be doing. Okay, so I took a piece of card and I cut it down to 10 by 5 and then scored at 5 to make a 5 by 5 card base. I've got this piece of Stampin' Up paper, which I thought was perfect with the gorgeous little baubles on, and I really wanted a red bauble die cut. And I've got this gold, I hope you can see it's really sparkly. Look at that, gorgeous. So I've got that gold to use for the stitching elements. So, and then I picked out this red for the bauble and a little bit of this yellow just for the, like, I was going to call it a stalk, but I guess it's really the string. So we're going to put the card to one side for the minute and the piece of paper. And now what I'll do today is I'll show you I can't show you it actually going through the machine because my machine, if you follow me, will know is being updated to the electric or electronic version of the Big Shot. So it's a little bit more difficult to lift across than before, but I can at least show you this element where I'm just laying out how I'm going to die cut. And then from now on, after that, I'll just die cut the pieces off camera, because the main part, once you've seen me die cut once, you've seen it. So now I've got a magnetic platform, so we can hopefully pop these all in without having to stick anything down. Basically, all I've got is my magnetic platform. Been on the Christmas booze a bit early, clearly. Magnetic platform, clear plate, cardstock dies cut side down, and another plate, and then I shall put that as it is through my machine, and it should die cut everything out. Help if I switch the machine on there. Tend to find that works a little better. Okay, so while that's just doing its thing, let's get some tape and tape this down. Now I want to cover the whole of the front. Okay, pop that into the corner there. Okay, so that's stuck down, and then we will get our scissors and just cut the excess. Okay, so here is our die cut. So let's now take I've put my card to one side for the moment, and we're going to take these apart and then start putting them together. Okay, so I cut out the pieces. However, I didn't realise, I hadn't noticed that these pieces that you stitch actually had cut lines around the edges, so they cut them out, which I thought they would be like, if they were put in position there, that it wouldn't cut that piece out, it would be make it as a whole. And also when I cut the yellow out, the yellowy gold, I really didn't like it, so I recut it because I needed to cut a background piece, and I thought about the red, but then you didn't see these lovely elements, if you can just see there, And so I thought, well, no, I'll cut it with a gold piece at the back, gold mirri, which would look nice with the gold thread, if you could just see a little bit of it. So I thought that would work well. And then I cut these elements out as well. So I think what we'll do first is we'll stick the pieces down that we can, which doesn't include these stitchy pieces. So we just want tiny little dots. We don't want to go too mad because otherwise it will squelch out. But just enough to hold it in place, obviously. Pop that down. Make sure it's lined up. There you go. They're going to look really nice. Okay, and then we've got this little fella, which goes on top here. And what we want to do is line the two corners up. So you position it so that you will line those 2 points up wherever it will match. There we go. Okay, so now what we want to do is put this little loop lined up with this loop. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back here of this little loop. Again, just really careful, you don't want to put like tons on. And then take this one, turn him over. Now of course you could do this not straight if you wanted to, if you wanted it to look like it was hanging off to the left or right or something, but we're going for hopefully straight anyway. There we go. And then we've got our little flag, which they put down here, but I personally think I prefer it a bit nearer the top. So this bit here. And then we're going to put our flag down. But that's looking good, right? I think it looks cute. So we're going to put that to one side, completely out the way so that we don't accidentally knock it. And then we're going to work on these little pieces here. Okay, so I have threaded some gold of that gold thread into here. It's quite a long piece because I'm not quite sure how much we'll need. So we're going to start by going through the center. I'm going to go a really simple stitching pattern today, and then I'm just going to take this. I've got a tiny bit of tape. Actually, I'm going to leave that down there for a minute, and I'm going to hold it because I think it'll be easier to tape it after the fact. So we're going to just go up into the top hole and then back through the center and then to the next one. Just thinking how we used to do this when we were kids. I want to get that tight. So we're going to just pop that through there and then knot it. And we'll keep hold of this one over to the side. And then we probably need to just undo this chappy here because he looks like he's just gone underneath. That's it. We're literally just going to go around. Just make sure we get it nice and firm. We don't want it flapping around. So I'm just holding it at the back there as I'm stitching, just to make sure it stays nice and tight. Oh, that's Gracie having a talk. One of the neighbour's dogs started barking, so she thought she'd join in. I think that looks really nice on the red. And the gold looks really effective. I've got gold and silver, and I bought this sort of whitey colour, but it doesn't look very sparkly to me, so I don't know whether I shall end up using that. And then last one. So we want again to make sure that this is nice and tight. So I'm going to take this piece here that we kept, and I'm going to I've crossed it over, and then I'm going to stick my needle through the middle of it. So just create a knot. Normally when I stitch I don't knot, but obviously with this it's not fabric, so it doesn't really matter. And then I'm just doing a second to double knot it with this bit, and that will keep that nice and firm. And then we can just cut the excess away. I'm just going to leave tiny little ends on each, and then I'll put that bit of tape over. I'm not sure it really needs it, because by the time we stick that down, so that's that bit done for you. So that look pretty. Okay, so we're just going to go up through that middle hole, so right side of the card facing you, leaving a little tail which I'm holding with my finger at the back there. I'm just going to take a little bit less because I'm a little bit short on thread here, I think. And then we're going to go in that top one there, and then back. So there's that bit, that looks pretty. So I'm going to do the second one, which is exactly the same, and then I'll come back to you when that's done. So I had a look, and when you put them down, because of the stitching behind, it does pop up. So I think what we will do is we'll make it pop up. So I'm going to take all of these pieces, including the one with a little bit of tape on the back, and I'm going to put a little bit of foam, thinking I might remove these, put a little bit of wet glue underneath this foam, because oops, it does help if you take the lid off your glue. I think it's just not sticking quite right because it's, come back here, it's just a bit with the threads, it's not going through to the card. Sorry, I'm trying to say 50 things in my brain. I'm saying doing something and then I'm saying something and it's not all coming out properly. Right, let's pop that down. I think that's safer to keep that in position if I could get it off my fingers. That one we've already glued, so just this one here. Just put a little bit of adhesive down the middle here. It's easier. I'll take the backing off while it's not attached, so that I don't pull it off again. There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll put some adhesive on the back of the foam here as well. Oh gosh, that's coming out a lot more than I wanted. There we go. The nozzle was sticking to the sticky of the foam tape. So I couldn't get it to stop, but that should be fine. So let's start with this middle one. We'll try with some tweezers because I have a feeling it might be a bit fiddly. So let's line it up. Oh, I like that with it up in the air actually. I think that gives it some nice dimension. There we go. So we definitely need to let that set. But isn't that gorgeous? I think that's come out really nice. I love it with the gold and the red. So what we're going to do to the card now, while that's just drying, is I've got these stickers that are gold and sparkly, which I thought were great. And they've got Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas. I don't want anything too big, but maybe this one here I quite like. So let's grab that. think there's one like that down the bottom, so that'll save us going all the way. Yeah, there's one there. Oh, that's a little bit smaller, that one though. I quite like that one actually. I'll grab him. So we've got that, and then I was thinking we could put that across the bottom. So if we put him in there. Now it's slightly foamy, this Happy Christmas, so it's sort of a little, it's not quite flat, but I don't think it matters. I think it'll close enough. Yeah, that across the bottom. It's a little bit further down. That's it. I quite like doing something on the inside. Sometimes with Christmas cards I don't bother so much, maybe just put a Happy Christmas, but because obviously if you're making a lot, then it can be, you know, the less you have to do, the easier it is. But so all I'm going to do, I'm going to be very careful because I'm not being patient and waiting for this to dry, is so I'm just going to be very careful. I'm going to use my wet glue on the back here, and then a little bit across there, and a tiny bit up on there, and then we're going to carefully pop it down. Like so. And I'm going to use my tweezers here to push it so I don't knock the other pieces. Okay, so that is the first card complete. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in 2 days' time on the 4th. All right, looking forward to it. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, if you've enjoyed, I'd be really grateful if you could give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.